May 15, 1944. Camp Alona, Iowa. Feldable Hans Richter descends from the train into air so heavy with humidity he can hardly breathe. He has been on the move for 6 weeks from the sand-blasted remains of Tunisia to Norfolk Naval Base, Norfolk to here, the middle of nowhere, America. The camp sprawls across prairie land that stretches farther than the eye can see. No hills, no woods, nothing but corn as far as the eye can see. An American officer with a Midwestern drawl calls out names from a clipboard. His voice rings across the processing yard where 300 Afrika Korps veterans are standing in the scorching sun. You'll be working for farmers around here, farm labor. You'll earn 80 cents a day. He breaks off, going down his list. RTOR, you're headed to the Zimmerman farm. RTOR's eyes freeze. His throat tightens. Zimmerman. The officer goes on unaware. Schulz, you're with the Hoffmans. Bieber, the Schmids have corn to harvest. Brown, you're going to the Becca farm. The Germans look at each other. These aren't American names. These are their names, the names of their villages, of their cemeteries, of their battle rolls. Untrahetische Paul Schultz leans over and whispers to Richter. Did he say, I'm working for a man named Hoffman? My mother was a Hoffman. They'd worked the math on the Atlantic voyage. 6 weeks in the bowels of Liberty ships, working numbers to kill the hours. 6 million Germans migrated to America from 1820 to 1920. 6 million, double the size of the city of Berlin. The whole kingdom of Saxony, uprooted and replanted across an ocean. The Nazi propaganda mill had informed them these immigrants were suffering, Jews enslaving them, starving in city ghettos, begging to be allowed to come back into the Reich. Goebbels himself had broadcast, our racial brothers in America cry out for liberation. But here now, the train that transports them from camp to the farms reveals something different. Every mailbox they go by is a testament to a different reality. Schneider, Becca, Vanner, Kaufman, Klein, Gross, each a slight betrayal of all they'd been told. May 16, 1944, Hancock County, Iowa, 6:00 a.m. Hans Richter is at the boundary of the Zimmerman land. He can't perceive where it stops. Cornrows disappear into morning fog. A large red barn bigger than any in his village materializes from the earth like a cathedral. Otto Zimmerman emerges from a house with electric lights burning in every window, even in the morning, even during peacetime. Such loose extravagance of power. Zimmerman is tall, broad-shouldered in denim overalls that would take a month's pay in Germany, 6th-generation American. Although Richter is unaware as yet, his great-great-grandfather had departed Bavaria in 1843, the same year Artur's family had nearly starved in the same area. Zimmerman's English is a Midwest drawl. You have to be RTOR. Heard you guys were coming. And then as an afterthought, he adds Deutsch. Can you speak German? The accents are on the words, Americanized, syllables softened through generations of English, but they're German, recognizably German. RTO nods, speechless. Zimmerman reverts to German, creaky but serviceable. My grandmother made us learn. Told us we'd know where we'd come from, even though we'd never be going back. The tour that follows shatters RTOR's idea of the world. Otto Zimmerman has 640 acres. In Germany, anyone with 100 acres is nobility. The Junkers who govern Prussia have an average of 500 acres. Zimmerman, Bavarian peasant descendant, tops them all. He has 2 John Deere tractors. Richter has seen 3 tractors in his lifetime. All of them belong to the Vermeer. He owns a combine harvester that costs $2,400. That's more than most German families see in a lifetime. He owns a 1942 Ford truck despite the war, despite rationing. A civilian with a private truck. He has electricity throughout his house. Not just one bulb per room, but multiple fixtures. Electric outlets everywhere. An electric refrigerator humming in the kitchen. An electric stovetop for cooking. A Zenith radio in walnut polish. A wall-mounted telephone. Indoor plumbing with hot water. Turn the handle and hot water flows. No heat needed. No hauling from wells. The breakfast served by Mrs. Zimmerman could feed Richter's family for 3 days. Eggs, 6 for him alone. Bacon strips stacked like timber. Toast of store-bought white bread covered with butter. Real butter, not turnip spread, not margarine. Butter, Orange juice in a tall glass, coffee with cream and sugar, both cream and sugar as though rationing had never happened. My boys are fighting in Italy, Zimmerman says, refilling the coffee from an infinite pot. 3 sons, perhaps against your pals, queer world. He says it without malice, without anger, merely fact. His sons are killing Germans while he feeds Germans. Your family, Richter finally succeeds. Bad harvest, no future there. My great-great-great-grandfather trudged on foot from Munich to Hamburg, sold all for shipboard passage, arrived with $17, and now Zimmerman looks out of his window at the infinite fields. Now I gross around 12,000 a year. Good a year, perhaps 15. Richter is unable to process the figure. A German factory laborer earns 2,000 Reichsmarks a year, perhaps if he's lucky, if there's work. If the factory hasn't been destroyed. Next is the pantry tour. Mrs. Zimmerman, Catherine Mueller by birth, opens door after door. Shelves overflowing to the ceiling. Home canning. Hundreds of jars. Tomatoes, green beans, corn, peaches, pears, apple butter, strawberry jam, store-bought items, coffee, sugar, flour in £50 sacks, crates of Coca-Cola. We might eat for a year never leaving the farm, she says matter-of-factly. In Hamburg, Richter's mother signals 4 hours for a loaf of black bread. Statistics throughout America are phenomenal. Wisconsin is 40% German-American by 1940. Milwaukee almost 70%. The city has German papers, German theaters, German beer halls. Until the First War made it un-American. Now there are American papers, American theaters, American saloons. But the names stick. Schlitz, Pab, Blatz, Miller, anglicized from Miller. There are 162 German-named towns in Minnesota. New Ulm, New Munich, Hamburg, Berlin, Cologne. Germans who escaped the old world and then reconstructed it piece by piece, name by name on the prairie. In Texas, they have a dialect known as Texas German, spoken by 100,000. Germans that came during the 1840s and established their own society in the hill country in Camp Hearn, Texas. P.L. Klaus Fischer is sent to work in a town named New Braunfels. Braunfels such as the one on the Land River, but new. All American is new. New York, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New Braunfels. The founder, Prince Karl of S. Braunfels, who had imported 7,000 Germans to Texas in 1845. Not running from poverty, he was nobility, running from the future he envisioned, the wars, the nationalism, the blood that would stain European soil for the next century. These Germans turned Texans currently possess cattle ranches extending thousands of acres, cotton gins with millions of pounds of cotton processed, oil derricks pumping black gold, general stores which serve communities, banks with mortgages. They were supposed to be dying, Fischer explains to his mother, though he knows the letter will be censored. They were supposed to require us, but they're wealthier than anyone I knew in Germany. They drive Cadillacs. They have pools, mother for fun. June 1944. Reading, Pennsylvania. 300 prisoners of war arrive at Reading Army Airfield. Reading is 90% Pennsylvania Dutch, not Dutch. Deutsch German, twisted by American lips into Dutch. The PS are processed by Sergeant Kleinmet, whose grandfather emigrated from Westphalia in 1882, Corporal Dietrich, whose family escaped the killer camp. Private Ulrich, third-generation American, who knows not a word of German but whose name rings out across Prussian history. All American troops, all bearing German names, all combatant against Germany. P. Wilhelm Braun is unable to understand. These are Volksgenossen, racial brothers in Nazi theory. They should be comrades. Blood must call to blood. Rather, Sergeant Kleinmet's boy is piloting B-17s over Berlin. Dietrich's brother is in charge of a tank destroyer in France. Ulrich's cousin was killed at Anio engaging Germans. Pennsylvania country is a world in miniature. The Germanic folk art hex signs on barns. The foods are scrapple, sauerkraut, pretzel. The names are Yoda, Grath, Weaver, anglicizations of Weber, Essender from Schneider. In the Yoda farm on which Braun works, conversation at dinner weaves between English and Pennsylvania German. The dialect is 300 years old, frozen in time, carrying words that no longer exist in modern German. Mr. Yoda's grandfather arrived in 1820, owned nothing. Now the family has 400 acres, 60 head of cattle, modern milking equipment, 2 cars, and a son at Harvard. Harvard. The Yodas, who would have been serfs in Germany, have a son at Harvard. Why didn't your grandfather stay? Braun inquires, stay for what? Yoda replies. To be drafted into another man's army, to kill and die for some prince. Here we select our own wars. The irony is sharp. America is engaged in a war it selected. Germany is in a war one man selected. Sunday, July 9th, 1944, St. John's Lutheran Church, Missouri. 25 prisoners of war are allowed to go to church. The congregation is 100% German-American. The service switches between German and English. The hymnal is in 2 languages. The stained glass windows were created in Munich in the year 1887. They Singborg is unser mighty fortress is our God. Martin Luther's hymn in German in America. While American bombs drop on German cities, P. Ga Meza sits between Frau Steinberg, whose grandfather fled Prussia in 1852, and Herc, whose son is in the Pacific battling Japanese ally with Germans. The congregations sing with passion. These are not people who forgot their heritage. They brought it with them, kept it, adapted it. The sermon is one of forgiveness. The Reverend Dietrich lost a nephew in Italy to German fire. He is preaching forgiveness while his nephew's gold star is in the church window. Following church, the congregation eats lunch in the basement. Real coffee percolates in 3 great urns. Tables groaned under the weight of food. White bread and pumpernickel, butter and jam, ham and roast beef, potato salad, German style, coleslaw, 3 kinds of pie. Frau Steinberg describes Mir about her family. My grandfather departed since there was no future in Germany, only wars and starvation. Here we established peace. My dad never held a gun. My husband never held a gun. My sons, she stops, my sons carry guns now, but they did it for America, not for a king or Kaiser or Führer. Meza states, that night everything we were told was backwards. The Germans who departed found paradise. We who remained found hell. They retained what was good about being German. The work ethic, the craftsmanship, the music, the food. They rejected what was poison. The militarism, the obedience, the hatred. August 1944, harvest time in the American Midwest. 30,000 German POWs labor on German-American farms. The irony is crushing. Schmids protecting Schmids, Millers to feed Mullers, Wagners to watch over Wagners. Same names, both sides of barbed wire, with one side opting for democracy and the other for dictatorship. Hans Bauer serves Emil Bauer. No Nebraska connection. Emil has 1,000 acres of corn. His great-grandfather left Bavaria with nothing but calloused hands and an aptitude for work. The machinery is revelation. John Deere tractors that do the job of 50 men. International harvester combines that clean a field in hours, not weeks. Mechanized corn pickers that strip ears quicker than human hands can follow. Automated milking systems that process hundreds of gallons. In Germany, Hans says to Emil, we still harvest with scythes. Some villages still use oxen. We did too, Emil says, 40 years ago, but here progress pays. In Germany, tradition governs. Emil's 3 boys are in uniform, 1 in Europe, 2 in the Pacific. Their pictures sit atop the mantle in dress uniforms. They volunteered, Emil says, the day after Pearl Harbor. Didn't wait for the draft. To fight Germany, to fight tyranny, it's different. Emil displays Hans's letters from his son in Europe, censored but legible. The son is with Patton's Third Army speeding through France killing Germans. Does it hurt? Hans asks. Your German son killing Germans, my American son, Emil amends. And yes, but it would hurt more if the Nazis won. My grandfather escaped Germany from men like Hitler. Turns out Hitler followed us here anyway, so we'll finish it here. September 3, 1944. Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. A P by the name of Friedrich Miller will not work. He yells at farmer Johann Miller, race traitor, you deserted your folk. You defiled your blood with mongrels. Murr, who left a family in Hesse in 1847, puts down his coffee. He is 60, a man shaped like the barn he built himself. In slow, careful words in accented German, he answers, my grandfather left because Germans were starving. Here I provide for Americans, Germans, English, Polish, Irish, even he hesitates. Idiots like you. Muller's farm yields 50,000 gallons of milk annually, 10,000 bushels of corn, 500 hogs. He supports 6 people full-time, 2 cars, a truck, a tractor. His daughter is in college studying medicine. His son is a designer for bombers at Boeing. Your Führer promised you all this, Muller goes on, but you had to take it from us. We just earned it. Took us 3 generations. No stealing involved. The camp commander assigns Friedrich to another farm, the Schultz farm, another German name, another prosperous American, another Fisher in the Nazi way of seeing the world. October 1944. Letters home. P. Kurt Vanner writes to his mother in bombed-out Hamburg. Mother, I work for a family by the name of Vanner. No kin. They departed Württemberg in 1851. They have electric lighting in each room, running water, hot and cold, a refrigerator that keeps food cold. They have a frigid air by which they heat their barn during winter for animals. Their cows are better treated than we were. Their son Karl Vanner is a captain in the American Army. He could be bombing Hamburg today. He could be bombing you today, and his parents are so proud of him. They have a picture of their grandfather from 1851 when he was setting out from Germany. He was skeletal, a walking skeleton. Now his children are fat, really fat from excess food. I don't comprehend anything anymore. We were the master race. They were the cowards who fled, but they're the masters and we're the prisoners. The American military censors permit the letter to pass through. They need these letters to arrive in Germany. They are little bombs dropped onto Nazi ideology. November 1944, Thanksgiving. P.S. Throughout America tasted their first Thanksgiving. The German-American families include them in their meal. It's unreal. Enemies and cousins sitting at the same table. In Kansas, the Kruger family, natively Kruger, sits down to turkey with P. Heinrich Kruger, technically related, third cousins. The American Kruger departed in 1869. The great-grandfather of Heinrich remained. The American Krugers own 800 acres of wheat, a grain elevator, has shares in a railroad. The German Kruger possesses nothing. His apartment is ruins. His city is ash. We could have been you, says American Kruger, if great-grandfather had remained. We might be sitting in your devastation rather than our abundance. December 24, 1944, Christmas Eve in America. Thousands of German-American churches welcome German POWs inside. From Texas to Pennsylvania, from Wisconsin to Missouri, foes worship as one. They sing Still, Silent Night, penned in Austria, translated into English, now being sung in both languages at once. German PSWs and German Americans, their voices blended. Fredericksburg, Texas, German founded in 1846, PSWs share Christmas dinner with German-American households. The irony is biting. Fredericksburg was established in honor of Prince Frederick of Prussia. These German Texans spurned Prussia but preserved the name, spurned the domination but preserved the culture. The menu is schizophrenic: roasted goose like home, sauerkraut like home, stolen bread like home, but cranberries too, American, sweet potatoes with marshmallows. Bafflingly American, pecan pie, Texas, through and through, P.W. Heinrich Roth at the Hoffman table, 3 Hoffman sons in uniform, their pictures looking down from the mantel, 1 in the Pacific, 2 in Europe, all killing for America. Frau Hoffman doles out 3rd helpings, 4th helpings, pushes food like a Jewish grandmother. Eat, eat, she says in German. You're too thin. In Germany, there aren't first helpings. The official ration is 1,200 calories. 1 meal here counts more than a week's allowance. Why did your family emigrate from Germany? Roth asks between bites. To be free, she replies briefly, free to be successful, free to fail, free to be left alone. January 1945, the math is irrefutable. German Americans are 15% of the population of the U.S., 23 million persons. They contribute 20% of American troops. 1 out of every 5 Americans who killed Germans has German ancestry. Dwight Eisenhower, German descent, leads all Allied forces. His surname was Eisenhower prior to Anglicization. Chester Nimitz, German descent, leads the Pacific Fleet. His grandfather had emigrated from Germany to escape military conscription. His grandson now leads the largest navy in the history of mankind. Henry Kaiser, German descent, constructs Liberty ships in 4 days. 4 days from keel to launch. The German U-boat can't submerge them quick enough. Wilhelm Boeing founded Boeing, which produces B-17 flying fortresses. The aircraft reducing German cities to rubble were crafted by a German. Pennsylvania Germans founded Hershey Company, which produces chocolate bars for American soldiers. D-ration bars, 2 billion of them. Germans fighting on turnip soup encounter Americans, aided by German-American chocolate. February 1945. Camp Stark, New Hampshire. P.O. Kingfisher looks at a movie reel. American propaganda, but not like gerbils. It depicts Detroit, the Ford River Rouge plant. A finished car is rolled off the line every 49 seconds. Every 49 seconds. The narrator says offhand that Ford's labor force is 30% German-American. The foremen are named Zimmerman and Eisenhower and Schnell. They construct the trucks that fuel the armies which rout the Wehrmacht. Fisher writes, "We believed we were striking a mongrel nation, but the mongrels are us. Germans who interbred with Irish and Italians and Poles and Jews, and they're the better for it. We kept our blood pure and weakened. They interbred and became powerful." March 1945. Word comes to the camps. The Rhine has been crossed. The Ruhr is encircled. German cities are falling day by day. The PS hear American radio without propaganda. Walter Winchell, Edward Morrow, reporting the truth about the collapse of Germany. At the Becca, Iowa farm, P. Ludwig Hoffman assists with spring plowing. The Beckers are planting 1,000 acres of corn. The seed costs more than most Germans will earn in a lifetime. What will you do after the war? Becker inquires. If there is anything left, Hoffman replies, rebuild. You might stay, Becca reports, become an immigrant. Many PS intend to. Fact is, thousands of POWs are falling in love with America. Not love, practical. They look at what Germany might have been, what Germans can achieve with democracy and freedom and peace. April 1945, Roosevelt passes away. Hitler remains alive. The cosmos appears to be turned upside down. German PWs stand at attention as American flags wave at half-mast. They're saluting the man their Führer had referred to as the paralytic Jew lover. German-American guards weep openly. These Bavarian and Prussian and Saxon descendants mourn an American president like a father. 2 weeks later, the camps erupt with impossible news. Hitler is dead. In the barracks, debate rages. Suicide or murder, hero or coward. But at the German-American farms there is no debate. Good riddance, says farmer Otto Zimmermann, should have occurred in 1933. Would have spared everyone trouble. May 8, 1945. VE Day, victory in Europe. The German PWs are no longer captives of a country at war with Germany. They are captives of a country reconstructing Germany. At German-American farms around the Midwest, the scenes are bizarre. The Schmidts rejoice over beating Germany. The Muirs toast Germany's defeat. The Hoffmans bless God that Germany lost. Pooh Wilhelm Brown queries his host, farmer Johann Weber, how do you celebrate having defeated your own people? Germans are not my people, Berber replies, my people are Americans. Some of them just happen to be called Schmidt. Summer 1945, re-education in earnest. The PWS are presented with concentration camp films. Banville, Darrow, Bergen-Belsen most refuse to accept, say it's Hollywood special effects. But the German Americans accept that they know the locations. Some have family members who perished there. In Wisconsin, farmer Miller says to P. Friedrich, my cousin wrote from Munich in 1938, said awful things were occurring. We tried to bring him here. State Department said no. He vanished in 1941. Now I know where the German Americans become the bridge. They're trusted because they're German. They're believed because they're successful. They're proof that Germans can prosper without fascism. September 1945, Japan is defeated. The war is won. But 300,000 German PS are still in America. Labor shortage prevents them from going home. They keep working farms, constructing roads, harvesting crops. The Zimmerman Farm in Iowa. Hans Richter has been in America 16 months. He's earned 40 pounds, learned how to drive a tractor, found ice cream, read the American Constitution in German translation. Otto Zimmerman's 3 war-returning sons. One missing his left hand but alive. Handshakes with RTOR, turned enemies, turned workers, nearly friends. No grudges, says the eldest son. You did your job, we did ours. Ours prevailed. Repatriation starts. Vessels come to take PS home, but home to what? Dresden lies in ash. Hamburg lies in ruins. Berlin is split. The PS have been consuming 3,000 calories a day. Their families live on 1,000. Hansria takes a Liberty ship. In his pocket, Mrs. Zimmerman's chocolate bars, Otto's cigarettes, a letter of recommendation in case he ever comes back. 20% of PWs will. Bremerhaven, April 1946. Richter arrives in a Germany that doesn't exist. His home is in the Soviet zone. His family ran west with nothing. He tracks them down in a refugee camp outside Frankfurt. His mother doesn't know him. He's too healthy, too fat. His cheeks are rosy. His eyes aren't sunken. He reports to his brother on the Zimmermans, on their 640 acres, their electricity, their plenty, their German name and American hearts. Lies, his brother responds, propaganda. No, RTOR responds. He produces a photograph. Him and Otto Zimmerman beside a John Deere tractor. The Iowa fields stretch on forever behind them, green and gold and endless. His brother glares, observes, precisely talks. Our cousin Wilhelm came to America in 1923. Father accused him of cowardice, of being a traitor. Perhaps, Richter says, gazing at the ruin that was Frankfurt, he was the clever one. The consequences spread throughout German society. Of the 378,000 German PSWs interned in America, thousands come back as transformed men. They've witnessed the arsenal of democracy. More significantly, they have witnessed democracy itself, functioning, prospering, producing plenty from prairie dust. They become politicians, teachers, mayors. When the Marshall Plan comes, they know why America can pay for it. They've witnessed the factories, the farms, the endless production. By 1950, West Germany institutes a constitution modeled on America's. The economic miracle, the Wirtschaften, starts. Most of its architects are ex-POWs who studied English in American camps, who witnessed American highways and proclaimed, "We need autobars," who recalled American supermarkets and designed German ones. Klaus Fischer, who toiled in Texas, becomes an agricultural advisor. He brings American farming practices, mechanization, fertilizers, crop rotation learned on the Becca farm. Wilhelm Brown, who had worked picking apples in Pennsylvania, begins an import company, shipping American products into Germany, exposing the Germans to the riches he had experienced as a captive. Hansria comes back into Iowa legally in 1955 with immigration documents. The Zimmermans sponsor him. He labors their farm, saves money, purchases his own acreage, 40 acres. Not a lot by Iowa standards, paradise by German ones. He marries a schoolteacher from Cedar Rapids, Catherine Schultz, third-generation German-American. Their names are James and Lisa, American names. They speak English. Occasionally at the Lutheran Church, Richter encounters other former PWs. They have a secret wisdom. They had seen America before most Germans. They had learned the hardest lesson of all. The Germans who had left the fatherland had actually preserved themselves. The cowards were the heroes. The wise were the traitors. The runners were the winners. And in their self-preservation, they had aided in dismantling the very ideology that branded them traitors. Every B-17 produced by Boeing, once Boeing. Every Liberty ship commissioned by Kaiser. Every tank that rolled across the Rhine. Every Hershey chocolate-coated can of rations. German names, American hearts, democratic souls, the Zimmermans, the Muirs, the Hoffmans, the Schmidts. They'd already won before the war ever began. They'd made the right decision in 1820, in 1848, in 1869, in 1890. They'd selected America. And America's strange democratic chemistry had transmuted them from the rejects of Germany into defenders of democracy, from refugees to conquerors, from the forsaken to the plentiful. The last irony was complete. The German PSWs, the master race warriors, learned to be democratic from the offspring of Germany's weaklings. The farmers who ran away instead of fighting, who preferred peace over glory, prosperity over purity. They had a better choice, and that made all.